Dear students, welcome to this new lecture. This lecture is all about the disaster management. What is disaster management? We will discuss about the different questions related with the disaster. Clear? Related with the chapter that we call the disaster management. You know that we learn different types of skills and we should have to learn the skill, the most important skill that is related with the different disasters. Clear? By when we will learn, when we will act different activities regarding the disasters, then what we will learn, we will learn the things that how we will save lives or how we can save an important life of a particular person. Clear? Or you know that there is unexpected happenings going on in all over the world or in our Kashmir Valley. Some tragedies, somewhere you have seen fire episodes, somewhere you have seen earthquakes. Clear? So we will discuss in this video lecture each and everything that is related with the disasters and that is related with the disaster management. Clear? Now listen carefully, my dear students. Now you have a question, that is, what is a disaster? Clear? The second question you have, that what are the different types of disaster? Clear? Now you have a definition, that is, a disaster is a sudden and calamitous event that seriously disrupts the functioning of a community or society and causes human, material, and economic or environmental losses. Clear? This is a definition of a disaster. Or types of a disaster that we will discuss. Say for example about natural disasters, hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquakes, floods, and volcanoes. Technological disaster, say for example chemical releases, power outrages, natural gas explosions, or we can say man-made disasters as well, terror attacks, race riots. Clear? And mass shootings. Now we will describe each and everything related with this video lecture, related with this the topic that we call the disaster management. What is disaster management? Let we understand the first thing, that is disaster. Clear? What is disaster? Now you know that earthquakes occur in mostly Jammu and Kashmir, mostly in Gujarat, mostly in Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Clear? Mostly in China. So you know that when there is an earthquake, at that time there will be the loss of property and there will be the loss of life. You know that, and you have seen so many videos. 2008 earthquake, that at that time how many losses of life and property in Jammu and Kashmir. Clear? So the second thing, that is about the cyclones. Clear? When the cyclones hit in a particular area, due to this effect there is a disaster. Clear? The third thing, when there is a terrorist attack. Clear? In New Zealand, in a mosque, you know that when there was a terrorist attack and so many people died. Clear? And the another thing, atomic power plant failure. Clear? In Lebanon recently atomic power plant failure was there and near about 50 people died and there was a destruction of property as well. So this earthquakes, cyclones, terrorists, or atomic power plant failure, what is this? This is unexpected. This is unexpected tragic happening which causes a great loss of life and property, and this is what we call a disaster. Now in these words we can define disasters. Clear? How can we define disasters? Say for example, the sudden event that leads to the huge loss of life and property. एक अचानक सा, do you know, when there is a sudden or there is unexpected event that leads to the huge loss of life and property, when the earthquakes will come, when the cyclones will come, when there is a terrorist attack, when there is atomic power plant failure, no one knows. That's why this is called sudden event. Clear? You don't know whenever the earthquake will hit our Kashmir Valley. You don't know. That's why, what is this called? This is called disaster. Clear? This is called a disaster. And these are the disaster disasters activities going on in all over the world. In Kashmir Valley, earthquakes. In Gujarat, cyclones. In Odisha, cyclones. Clear? In Jammu and Kashmir, terrorist attacks. Clear? In Andhra Pradesh, there is atomic power plant failure. In Lebanon, there was atomic power plant failure. So everywhere, in every part, there is a disaster, and this leads what huge loss of life and property. Clear? Now, what is this? What we can say? We can say that the sudden event that leads to the huge loss of life and property, that we call the disaster. Clear? Now, you know that in any factory, in any particular area where there is fire tragedy, clear, where there is unexpected fire tragedy, what will happen? There will be the loss of life, or there will be the loss of property. This is also said to be as a disaster. Now, what is the nature of disaster? What is the nature of disaster? Sometimes you will see that there is a car accident. Somewhere you will see there is a cyclone. Somewhere you will see there is a fire episode. Clear? So, somewhere you will see the period of each disaster. Earthquakes hit and it will take a short period of time. Clear? It will take short term disaster. Clear? And if we will take the example of long-term disaster, drought will take place in any particular drought will take place in any particular area, and it will occur in any particular area, but it will take a long time. But earthquakes are the sudden events. The earthquakes are the, and it is a short-term disaster. Clear? Now, first of all, we will discuss the nature of disaster. Nature of disaster. Say for example, what is the nature of disaster? Somewhere you will see there is a car accident. Clear? Somewhere you will see the cyclone. Somewhere you will see the fire episode. Clear? And these will differentiate the nature of the disaster. Somewhere where there is a brake fail in the car. Clear? But this cyclone, it is because of the natural processes. Its nature is completely different. But car accident, it is, we can say, or we can say this is accident. This is, we can say, a mistake from a driver. Clear? Or fire episode, there will be a short circuit. So every disaster, the nature of the disaster is completely different. Clear? Now, if we will take the example of period of each disaster, every disaster, there some disasters are short-term disaster and some are long-term disasters. Say for example, earthquakes hit in a particular area, and when the earthquakes hit, these earthquakes are the sudden shaking of the earth. Clear? And drought, it will take time. When there is no rainfall for 5 years, for 6 years, so it is a long-term disaster. Then there is a crop failure, then the farmers cannot grow anything from the land, so it is a long-term disaster. Clear? Now, extent of damage. Say for example, when a car hits with a tree. Clear? At that time there is a small damage. When there is atomic power plant failure, there is a huge damage. You know that. When there is an earthquake in a particular area, there is a huge damage. When a single car hits with the wall, at that time there is only, we can say, the only car will damage, or we can say the wall will damage. Clear? Or there will be one loss of life. But if there is explosion in the atomic power plant, so there will be the losses of life, many losses of life, or there will be, we can say, the huge damage of a big infrastructure. Clear? Now, if we will divide, if we will classify the disasters, now how we will classify the disasters? Classification of disasters. First, we will discuss about the natural disasters. The first type, clear? The first classification of natural disasters. What is that? That is natural disasters. The second one, that is man-made disasters. Clear? And we will discuss about the natural disasters in the second video lecture.